長官ユナイテッドエンパイア今日は試合があったそして彼がエンパイアの応援してくれるってよみんなブローケンケーブルポッドキャストよろしく
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Broken Tables Podcast proudly brings to you the Fuck Vince McMahon Podcast! The Broken Predictions champion, King Rome, the host with the most, Jeffrey Vegas. We fucking told you so! Welcome to the Broken Tables Podcast, everybody. This is an absolutely special episode. I'm calling this special episode number 1. Where King Rome definitely gets to gloat here, I guess would be the word, whatever you want to call it, because he definitely called all of this shit. So, you know what? Let's just get at it. King Rome, take it away.
I don't want to... look, this is not going to be a brag for 40 minutes fest. Yes, I was correct. I did say that this was all going to happen. This was pretty much went down. Actually, you know what? No, this went down different than what I expected, because the way that this went down, this whole situation with Vince McMahon coming back was fucking crazy. Like, it's just absolutely insane. So let's get into it. So last night, January 5th, news broke. It was more in the afternoon time, but news broke that Vince was intending to come back into WWE as a the executive chairman to facilitate a sale of the company. And so basically what has happened has just been completely insane. Vince being a majority shareholder, which, again, this is the bragging part, which I told everybody, he's a majority shareholder. I believe he owns about 80% of the public stocks of the company. This guy had the power to put himself back into place whenever he wanted, and we saw it happen, in real time. I mean, so Vince comes out last night with this public report. I believe it was originally announced by the Wall Street Journal, and he tells... he's like, I'm coming back. I want to sell the company, and I have the power to basically kill the company, which, like, for a lack of a better term. So Vince basically says, I have the right to deny and, or vote to reject any new media deals. That includes TV deals. This is a TV year for them, just like AEW. So if Vince saying that, hey, if you don't put me in charge, I'm not going to vote for a new TV deal, that means WWE would be off television by the end of this year with nowhere to go. And that's not just television, that's Peacock and everything. They would be off pretty much everything, unless they had they could go on YouTube, I guess, probably. But point is, the media deals, the TV deals, is what keeps them in the black. Apart from the Saudi blood money, that's their other big revenue, is their TV deals. So that was last night. Obviously, people had their reactions. A lot of people were like, there's no way this is going to work, right? Well, this morning, the WWE officially consented to Vince McMahon, something that Vince is not used to. And they welcomed him back because they knew that Vince had the ball, he had the court, it was his game, they had to play it. So Vince is back with WWE's board of directors. The new filing says, effective immediately, Vince puts himself, Michelle Wilson, and George Barrios, 2 executives that he has previously fired. He's placing the 3 of them on the board of directors and removing independent directors Alan Wexler, Joellen Lyons-Dillon, and Jeffrey Speed. At the news of this, 2 other directors on the board resigned today. I had their names in my notes, but I lost it, it looks like. And basically, one of the directors was the one that headed up the investigation against Vince and all the allegations last year. So that's the starting point. That's where we started this morning. It was a very, very quick turnaround, and you know that had to have happened because the company saw that Vince had the power to strong arm his way back in. So that was an insane start to the morning, Jeff.
Dude, yeah.
What was your initial reaction?
I was like, wait a minute, he said what? When I found out that he just said, listen, I will not renew the TV deals until you put me back in place as the CEO or whatever you want to call it, executive chairman of the board. I was like, I've never seen this before. I have never seen a chairman or wannabe chairman threaten to ruin his company if they don't let him stay in power. Like, I'm sure it's happened, and I'm sure people can give some examples, but like, wow, this definitely caught me off guard. I was like, what? But yeah, I was celebrating. I was laughing my ass off. Yeah. I don't know about doing jumping jacks there, Coach, but yeah, I was somewhere close, man.
So, so Vince takes over this morning. He is in charge now. This isn't speculation. It is factual. He is the executive chairman of the company again.
Even if he says I'm not going to be in charge of creative, like, you got to be crazy to believe that,
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
But so he's taken over. He's already changed the bylaws of the company. So he changed the bylaws to be that for media deals and sale of the company to go ahead, Vince has the say in it. He's literally made it. So basically, the way it works is it goes to a vote of the board now. And Vince has himself and his 2 puppets on the board, giving him a majority vote in the board and as a shareholder. Just completely, again, like, he is setting himself up here. Like, it's a publicly traded company, but he's setting himself up where, like, you wouldn't know it's a publicly traded company.
No, yeah, it's wild.
Which I have a theory a little later on, but again, we'll get there. Vince McMahon actually put out a statement. Let me see.
What up, Japson, how you doing tonight, man?
Oh no, I lost the...
Yeah, let's say what's up to everybody in chat real quick. We got Japson Alex, we got the Coog, we got Coach Nick. Glad to see you guys all here with us. This is kind of a funny time. You guys are always here with us pretty much every night, and you hear us talking smack all the time over there, and it's just funny to see this coming down the pipe right now. Like, like the Coog said, all these YouTube wrestling shill shows eating a big plate of crow right now, and this is hilarious to me. I'm laughing, and my thumbnail, I put that Nelson over there. Ha ha.
So the following press release came out of Greenwich, Connecticut today. Vince McMahon, the founder and controlling shareholder of World Wrestling Entertainment, announced today that he has taken necessary actions to position the company to capitalize on a unique opportunity to maximize long-term value for all WWE shareholders. The actions communicated communicated to WWE's board of directors today via written consent include the election to the board of Mr. McMahon, as well as Michelle Wilson and George Barrios, former co-presidents and board members, and currently the co-founder and co-CEOs of ISIS Capital Management, and the requisite removal from the board of the ISOS, ISOS.
Okay.
But again, we'll get there. Mr. McMahon expects to assume the role of executive chairman of the board. Mr. McMahon's new role will enable unified decision-making throughout the company's upcoming media rights negotiation, the TV deals, and a parallel full review of the company's strategic alternatives, which Mr. McMahon believes is the right course of action in the best interest of WWE and its shareholders amidst the current dynamics in the media and entertainment industry. As Mr. McMahon has communicated to the board, he believes there is a narrow window of opportunity to create significant value for all shareholders, that to do so, the strategic alternatives review must occur in tandem with the media rights negotiations. He also expressed to the board that he believes that these two initiatives require his direct participation, leadership, and support as controlling shareholder. Here's a quote from him. WWE is entering a critical juncture in its history, with the upcoming media rights negotiations coinciding with increased industry-wide demand for quality content and live events, and with more companies seeking to own the intellectual property on their own platforms, said Mr. McMahon. The only way for WWE to fully capitalize on this opportunity is for me to return as executive chairman and support the management team in the negotiations for our media rights, and to combine that with the review of strategic alternatives. My return will allow WWE, as well as any transaction counterparties, to engage in these processes, knowing they will have the support of the controlling shareholder. There's more, but that's the gist of it. So yeah, I mean, that's basically the story. That, like, there's a lot to this story, and there's a lot of details that are being left out, but it's just because of the complexity of the situation itself. But I would say that is the base story. Vince is now the executive chairman. He's claiming that he's planning on selling the company and setting up TV deals for the future. What do you think, Jeff?
I think we called this. We told everyone that this was coming. I never thought he was out of power to begin with. Apparently he sounds like he actually was, you know what I mean? So there's that, but this is just, like I said, dude, this is hilarious to me. Everybody was like, yay, Triple H is our savior. You know, he's been Booker of the Year since Vince has been gone, and can't wait to see what's going to happen here moving forward. Anybody got SmackDown on tonight? Anything different to start off? I don't have it on.
No, so there wasn't a lot of change based off the plans that came out via Fightful. It seems like it's business as usual, which we'll get to the meeting that happened today. I think that this is just fucking wild, though. It's a coup d'etat of the company. I mean, Vince McMahon literally held this company hostage, and like that needs to be remembered and taken note of. Like, this guy literally strong-armed his way into being the top executive at this company. Like
how is there not some sort of legal like legalities with that, like a law against that, because it's a publicly traded company? Well, you have one person on the board forcing their way to being chairman. Like, that's crazy.
Well, one of my later bullet points on my script covers that, so don't worry. We're going to get there.
All right.
Like the question, though. Great question. Love the question. But, yeah, I just think this is fucking wild. The coup d'etat, just to plan it out like this is just completely insane to me. I would regret if I did not bring up that this may be the one Vince McMahon, this is cinema moment, right? Because so this goes out, right? And I start to think, right? And I think back, the year was 2000, I believe 1 or 2. And Vince McMahon, you know, he cuts this promo. You know, it's him bringing the NWO to the WWF. And he basically says, I'm going to inject WWF with poison. I'm gonna kill my creation. It's a very legendary promo. I'm sure most of you have seen it. And I'm just like, damn, 20 years later, here we are. This fucker. And I'm like, you know what? That's cinema. I gotta respect that. I don't like Vince. I fucking hate Vince McMahon. I fucking hate the company. But again, I gotta give credit where credit's due. That's a pretty fucking cinema moment, and I'm loving it. I'm having a great time with this, by the way.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I'm just sitting back watching it burn. It's like a dumpster that's on fire, and it's like floating down the flooded street in Connecticut. Like I'm just laughing as it floats by. I'm sitting here on my, I don't want to say a boat because I don't own a boat, but I'm sitting here over on the dry land or something, and I'm just chilling. Like, hey, look at that.
Yeah. And the Coog with a great comment. This is better drama than the House Speaker vote this week, which that's just that's a joke.
Yeah, that shit's funny.
That's hilarious. But so yeah, I mean, just absolutely insane. And you know what? Like, this is the part of the show where I just want to say that I, from the bottom of my heart, have absolutely zero fucking sympathy for anybody who was like, yeah, I want to go back to that company. Yeah, you know what?
Oh, dude.
I don't need to be in AEW or Impact or New Japan. Fuck
so that opens up. That's a whole nother conversation now of, oh, FTR's going back to the Fed. No, they're not. Oh, this guy wants to go back. That guy wants to go back. You think they want to go back now? You really think that?
Remember when some people were speculating maybe CM Punk goes back to WWE? No fucking chance. Like, I'm not saying he's going back to AEW, but at that, like, no. There's no way in a million years you're going to get CM Punk in WWE. Yeah, and you know what? Here's the thing. I don't want to see people get fired. I don't want to see people lose their jobs. But however, it's kind of the fact that talent didn't see this coming, because again, the reports coming out today is that almost the entire company, especially from the talent side, completely caught off guard, completely surprised, completely shocked. And I can't help but wonder, how the fuck are you caught off guard by this? We knew he was a majority shareholder. Again, this is why this is not a gloating, bragging podcast. That's not what this is. But bro,
yes,
it is. But bro, we literally sat here when he retired, and I was like, we both said it. I think it's he's still a majority shareholder. He can come back whenever he wants.
The Coog makes a great point here in chat, saying lots of folks today saying I'm done with WWE. They should have been done with them a long time ago. And I'm like, okay, how does him coming back make you done? You should have been done when you found out all about the crap that went on, that he paid all those millions of dollars.
So, yeah, I think that this has been such a great experience, because now you're going to see the true colors of the fans and the so-called media, because you go and you have this stance that WWE was great before Triple H took over, and then you adopt this new stance that, oh, it's so much better now that Triple H is in charge. Okay, well, what do you do now? I loved JD's tweet this today. I was laughing.
I wish I had it, but I have it blocked.
I texted it to you. I saw it via a quote tweet. But I texted it to you today. But it's just hilarious. He's like, this is a nightmare. He's like, this is a nightmare. And I'm like, bro, you fucking moron. You burned your bridge with the AEW crowd. And now, you have to deal with what you're dealing with. This is what you got. It's what are you going to do? Are you going to say the product sucks now and the AEW is amazing? Yeah. Or, you know what I mean? What do you do now? Again, it's all about the clout, man. And the ones that are doing it for the clout, they're going to be exposed very quickly. And the same goes for fans. It's just hilarious. I can't wait to see the about face from these marks. Okay, because it is just I love it. Again, I'm thoroughly enjoying myself here.
It's just one of those moments where I wish someone who had been a Fed fan would have been with me when I found all this out, so that I could have turned over with a smile and saw the look on their face of being like, what? Man.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. I again though, it's shocking to me that people are surprised by this. Like, I mean, granted, I thought it would have taken longer for it to happen, but I mean, shit, 6 months. They,
Dude, if Booker T and Eric Bischoff spin this into a win for the Fed, I don't know how they could possibly.
they
You
will.
would have to do some somersaults and backflips and triple gainer twists like to pull that shit off. I don't even recognize Disco Inferno. That guy's a joke.
But no, they will turn it into a spin. They
I
will
know.
spin this as a win. They're
I'm
gonna
just like,
say,
how are they
well,
gonna twist that?
they're gonna say he's the guy that founded the company. He's the guy that beat WCW. He's the guy that started WrestleMania. He's the visionary, and that's gonna be their argument.
Well, he's also the guy that committed those gigantic list of atrocities that we listed back on our Vince McMahon video back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm just telling you what their argument's
I
going to
know, I know.
be. Um, so some interesting developments happened this afternoon. The company claims that Vince will not be making any changes or have any say on creative. This is fucking bullshit. This is not true.
Yeah.
This is just not true. You mean to tell me that Vince McMahon, the guy that for decades had to have his hand in every pot, had to have like a complete control, know everything that's going on, super anal, super hands-on with every little thing in the company down to the most like trivial, minute detail. You mean to tell me this guy's back in power as the executive chairman, and he's just like, nah, it's cool, it's all good. Like, no, like
Yeah. And especially if he's facilitating a sale, do you really think that he doesn't need to be involved in the product that's on television? Like, hello.
it's very true. Now, so how this is bad for employees. So either way, this is bad for employees at the company. And again, while I have no sympathies for the talent that did what they did and acted how they acted, and decided to resign, at the same time, like I said, I don't want to see anyone lose their jobs. This is a nightmare for if you work for that company, because a few things to note. Number one, Vince loved laying off employees, especially talent. That was
Yep.
just what he did. And a higher up anonymously said recently that if you got let go during the pandemic by Vince, he didn't like you. Even if you were under the impression that he did like you, he did not like you. He fucking laid you off during a pandemic. Wake
Yeah.
up. It'll happen again.
Great way
Those
to
people
put it.
will be let go again. I saw a really funny tweet today. It's like Vince at a meeting, and he's like, everybody's keeping their jobs, nobody's fired, and everybody's leaving the room. And he's like, except you. He points at Top Dollar.
What up, TJ? So basically Vince used a power move and he hostile took over the company again today, put himself back in power as chairman of the board.
Yes.
This is just hilarious, man. Like we it's like I just keep repeating myself because of how funny it is, you know.
Yep. So to coincide with what I said about them saying that Vince doesn't plan on making any changes or anything like that. Now WWE did have an employee meeting today. It was originally scheduled for 3:30, got pushed back by a half hour, so it was had at about 4 o'clock today. It was not a talent meeting; it was a corporate employee meeting. Just some notes from Fightful. Talent was not involved. There were no questions taken. It was stressed that day-to-day is not changing across the board. They spoke about Vince being the controlling shareholder and the possibility of a sale, as well as the media rights deal. Stephanie McMahon, Nick Khan, and Frank Riddick led the meeting. It was noted that the sale could be a huge positive, and that they would be looking at potential sale offers before negotiating the rights fees. Vince, will get final say. They said a sale might not happen, and the company could be taken private if there's a sale. It was portrayed that the move was made to look at the market to maximize rights fee deals and potential sale price. It was noted that the potential buyers could be interested more in WWE as a property than just the product that we see on TV.
Michelle Wilson and George Barrios' rehiring was mentioned as the two people who helped sell WWE's biggest right fee deals previously. The meeting was said to be overall very quick. Other notes from Fightful, as I said earlier, Manjit Singh resigned from the board this morning. He was the head of the investigation against Vince McMahon. Jeffrey Speed was also a part of the investigation and was removed from the board. Joel and Dylan was removed from the board, but joined following the investigation. Kook say Regal is headed there too. Yeah, Regal started today or yesterday. He just started.
If he started yesterday and that's the day that all this happened, oh my god.
Fightful reiterated that Vince McMahon was not at the SmackDown tapings tonight or at WWE headquarters. And it was reiterated to Fightful in an official WWE capacity that creative is not supposed to change as of now. So WWE officially reached out to commented to Fightful saying that there's no creative changes. It's still Triple H's show. Right. But again, like, does anybody honestly, like seriously, does anybody honestly believe that Vince McMahon has no intention of taking over creative? Like, seriously.
I hope not. I hope you don't.
I mean, I just kind of want to see Triple H eat the crow. I mean, I want to see that place burn. So, like, yeah, man, I want Vince. Vince should take over. Vince should absolutely take over.
I don't really want to see it necessarily burn. You know what I mean? But
well, so let me explain.
I would like to see that whole culture burn over there and just become a legitimate pro wrestling company. Let
me explain myself, because again, I don't just dislike for the sake of disliking. I don't never consider myself to be a troll. I don't consider myself these things. What I have is legitimate disdain for that company. And like we talked about when Vince left 6 months ago. When Vince left, I wanted to give Triple H the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to believe that a guy that I was considered myself a fan of as a kid, like, I was like, maybe things could be better. Maybe we can make things better, not just from a booking perspective, but from a company perspective. And that hasn't changed. Triple H has died Vince, like, as far as I'm concerned. Between the nonsensical shitty booking to the sleazy business practices, you know, the stomping on the throat of your competition instead of helping boost yourself up, these things, they all stayed the same with Triple H, you know, at the helm. So no, I'm not going to sit here and just hope that, oh man, I'm rooting for Triple H to really pull through. No, because I've learned in those 6 months that things aren't going to change or get better. So yeah, burn the company down, because maybe if it isn't Triple H, then it's just the culture of the company. And at that point, burn the company down. I mean, I don't know what to say. It's just, Triple H has instilled zero confidence in me. I mean, the show didn't get much better. They say the word wrestling now, and I'm supposed to be impressed. It just feels so disingenuous. It feels so hollow and so fake. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm like, that's how I feel about the company, and that's why, honestly, like, yeah, sure, fuck it, let Vince take over booking again. It doesn't matter. It's the same. It's two sides of the same coin. It doesn't matter. It's the exact same situation, one way or the other.
And we'll definitely know if Goldberg shows up.
I mean, look, man. Again, the booking wasn't much different with Triple H there. Like, it just wasn't. Sorry, just
it wasn't. It wasn't at all.
They're still Usos still kept part-timers. They still had Rock and John Cena penciled in for WrestleMania this year. Like, what changed? Like, what?
It really felt like more of the same. We still got the Usos versus the New Day another 5 times. We got, you know, it's whatever.
Yeah. Again, the product didn't change, and like the people that say it did, you have an extremely low bar. You have a really low bar, and like, I don't mean that in any disrespect. Like, you know, I mean, it is what it is. But like, man. Just like, because I've been listening to reactions today, like some of the other media who I don't really consider to be like biased, they just kind of chill in their own little zone. Like, they're even like, yeah, man, the booking was so much better, and I was like, was it though? Like, really? It was so much better?
I mean, when it's really bad, it doesn't take much to be so much better. You know what I mean?
So TJ's asking, does the fan base feel this way, or is this me? There is a large amount of fans that do feel the way I feel. That's why AEW is doing as well as it is that those fans. So WWE spent 20 years, TJ, because I know you're not really into the wrestling industry like that. WWE spent decades disenfranchising fans and just making fans hate wrestling. And like, myself, I thought, is it me? Do I hate wrestling? Because like I'm not having fun watching wrestling anymore. And then AEW, the alternative comes out, and it's better, and wrestling's fun again. And all of these things between contract tampering and other things, it's things that they're actually doing. So to answer your question, is it just me? No. Are there fans of WWE that just like it no matter how bad it is? Yes, there are. There is still a fan base there. There is still an audience there that does enjoy it, even though critically it's considered to be dog shit, for a lack of a better term.
So let's not forget that when all those controversies came out and we found out about all those payments, he showed up to a show. Remember, he like came out kind of like it was almost like a see you later type thing. Mm-hmm. And those people were bowing to him even after they knew what had happened.
Yeah.
People's brains like don't work properly when it comes to Vince McMahon. I don't understand it. It's wild.
It's because they're programmed. They're programmed because this is the guy that the way that WWE made itself up, they made it so it's like it's the brand and it's Vince. It's like, oh, Steve Austin?
Yeah.
Steve Austin himself has nothing to do with Steve Austin. It's 100% Vince and 100% the brand. And you go down the list, and all these guys, we loved growing up. It wasn't
me all along, Austin.
Yeah, right. Like Vince made those guys, and to an extent, obviously, he was the booker. He did help make those guys what they were. But times change, and we are where we are. So my last few points. Number one, does Vince really want to sell WWE? Now, Jeff, earlier you asked a great question, which would have been a great segue into this point, where you were asking, how can Vince just do this? Isn't there a way that, shareholders or the company can sue Vince for, whatever, not doing what's in the best interest of the company? Now, the answer to your question is that stocks for the company are up 24% right now.
I know. I went to go buy some thinking it was going to be dropped down, but
nope. Now there's a reason for that. Now some people at the, just kind of looking at the situation at a very basic level, like, oh, well, Vince is back, so the stocks went up. No. Last year, a few months ago, or when Vince initially expressed some interest to come back, the stocks went down. The stocks went up this time because of Vince's presentation about how he wants to come back. Now, last time the news broke, he's interested in coming back. What does that mean? He's interested in coming back and doing what he was doing before, which is everything. Stocks, the shareholders, they didn't like that. This time around, what is Vince's message, Jeff? What is his message with him coming back this time?
I'm here just to facilitate the sale. I'm not going to involve myself in anything else. At least that's what the message came across to me.
Bingo. That right there is Vince's play. And that's why, obviously, could he be trying to sell the company? Yeah, and I have a point after this about that. But very easily, Vince could come in and say, hey, guys, I'm here because I think I'm the best man to sell my company. It's my company, and I have a right to sell it. And I believe that I can do what's best for the shareholders in terms of selling the company and getting the new TV deal done. And the two people, they're puppets. They are puppets. But the two executives that I'm bringing with me played a key role in the last TV deal, which was historically good for us. So naturally, the shareholders who the company selling makes them money. The company doing well makes them money. It's like, oh, wow, this is going to make us money. Stocks went up. So it's all about the message, and that's also why they're not going to sue him. Nobody's going to sue Vince here because the company's stocks are up. Shareholders are interested in what he has to say, and they're looking forward to the future.
Yeah, and the worst part for this is, like, when he first gave them the idea that he wanted to come back, they literally told him, they were like, this is not a good idea for the stockholders. Like, we're the shareholders. We don't think that's a good idea. And now he's going to be like, what do you mean? Look, they just made money. And, you know, when I said I wanted to buy some, I don't mean like supporting them. I do day trading. So I would have bought them. And then as soon as it went up, I would have sold them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I do my stocks to make money. But yeah, the stocks are definitely up. I think this morning when I looked, they were up like almost $13, up to $80 a share. Like, that's a big jump when I thought it was going to be the opposite direction.
Right. So that's one way of looking at it. I don't trust Vince McMahon at all. So part of me wonders, could Vince be doing this? Could Vince be just kind of getting ready to take back in charge? Like, let's say, who's to stop Vince? Okay, so Vince comes back and he says, okay, I'm here to facilitate a sale of the company and get a TV rights deal, make the shareholders some money, and then I'm peacing out. Right? Now, what's going to stop Vince from like 5 months from now saying like, well, this is a transitionary period, so for the time being, I'm going to assume the roles of head of creative to help facilitate the sale. And what if that transition period lasts 5 years? Like, I'm just saying, like that's a big possibility. Vince could straight up say, like, Vince could get a good TV deal this, next year, beginning of next year. And he could just say, all right, well, now that we have our TV deal in place, we are going to start looking for a buyer. But the product is not at what it can be. So I'm going to make it what it can be. And then you just argue he's just working on the process. And then there you go. He's in charge of booking.
Right. Now, let's say he does find someone to buy it. Who you think would buy WWE?
Oh, well, that is a great segue to the next point, Jeff. Great job. So there's two.
That was not planned, by the way.
No, it was not. Number one, so I had a pick, and then right before we went live, actually, Jeff, there was a little bit of breaking news that you probably don't even know about because this just happened. So number one, my original pick on the script was NBC. I think NBC would absolutely want to buy WWE, especially with Vince there. NBC and Vince have had a long, positive relationship. Andrew Zarian at the Mcmahon podcast today said that there was actually a lot of people at NBC that were unhappy when Vince left 6 months ago, regardless of all the drama and the stuff like that. The people at NBC were not happy that Vince left. So Vince being back, NBC would make a lot of sense. That right now the WWE network side of Peacock is the one of the more successful parts of Peacock. It just makes a lot of sense for NBC to do that.
Yeah, I mean, so NBC are they the owners of the USA Network?
I believe I believe USA is a subsidiary of NBC.
So,
I believe,
dude, what if, like, we're just doing a what if here? What if it gets split in two? What if NBC buys their half and keeps the USA Network and names it whatever they want to name it, and Fox buys the other half and they name Raw whatever they want to name it? Like, that'd be wild. Obviously far-fetched, but I could see that possibly happening at this point.
I would see that as extremely unlikely due to how messy that could get.
Exactly.
Again, you're not just talking about the brands of Raw and SmackDown. Like, number one, both are WWE. So, like, if both of them split it, who has the say in the direction of WWE as a brand itself? It just gets really messy. And then after that, you're looking at even the smaller things like contracts, talent, the corporate offices, like the headquarters. There's so many little things that you have to look at and be like, that's an interesting question that doesn't have a clear answer.
Yeah, that's very far-fetched. But my real answer of who I think it would be is Disney. I think Disney would buy WWE in a heartbeat.
Well, Jeff, right before we went live, about a half hour or so.
Is that the breaking news?
Front Office Sports is reporting that, you ready for this? Saudi Arabia's public investment funds is emerging as a possible bidder for WWE if the promotion puts itself up for sale, sources have told Front Office Sports. PIF controls about $620 billion with a B dollars in assets. Vince McMahon's sports entertainment company could be the next possible step in its global sports expansion. WWE has a deep history with Saudi Arabia, holding its crown jewel and WWE Live and greatest Royal Rumble events there in recent years. WWE currently has a 10-year deal to hold 2 live events per year in the kingdom. In the same way they did LIV, which I believe is a golf thing, there's an unlimited faucet of dollars there, Lightshed Partners analyst Brandon Ross told Front Office Sports. The Saudis are already a decent part of the profitability of that company just on those 2 events alone. They're trying to be relevant in the entertainment world. Some of the biggest WWE stars have wrestled in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, including Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Triple H. And then it kind of goes on to put other things about their history there. The Saudis have been expanding their interest in sports in recent years. PIF has served as the majority owner of Newcastle United in the English Premier League since 2021. Last year, they spent $2 billion to bankroll LIV's Golf Global Challenge to the PGA Tour. Sources have also pegged other possible suitors as Amazon, Comcast as NBC Universal Media, Fox Corp. That's generally what we're looking at. If PIF makes a run at WWE, it will bring up again the question of whether Saudi Arabia is trying to sports wash away its history of human rights abuse and treatment of women, or lack thereof. The murder of dissident Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi in 2018 highlights the issues with their affiliation. Saudis may face hurdles if they want WWE, given LIV's inability to score a U.S. media rights deal. There is a question of whether U.S. media companies would want to be partners with PIF. On the other hand, WWE President Nick Khan will be leading media rights negotiations. The former CAA super agent, yada, 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 Nick Khan, he's working on the deal. But now it's going to be Vince. Saudi Arabia.
Dude, I don't know if you were looking at the screen while you were talking about Saudi Arabia taking over. I could not stop laughing the whole time. Dude, that is one of the funniest things to me. If that happens, you get your wish, the company burns to the ground. There is no chance that they own it and keep it in a state that Americans will still watch. There's just no chance.
Well, so to kind of go along with this, Dave Meltzer commented on it briefly, saying that it is very possible, and what Dave could see happening is Saudi buys the company, it goes private, and Vince McMahon retains control of the company. That's a real thought process here that Meltzer says is very realistic, because again, ownership and running are 2 different things. Vince coming back to run the company, and there's a lot of speculation going that even if it's not Saudi Arabia, who's to say that Vince isn't going to sell the company with him being the head of the company as a part of the deal? Which again, NBC likes Vince. I couldn't see a reason why they would not want to keep him on.
I can already see where this is going. I guess Dave just nailed it. He's gonna sell the company with a clause in it, or not even a clause. It's gonna be something that they want because he's Vince McMahon.
Exactly.
He's gonna stay as head of creative, whatever you want to call it, the head of all this blah blah blah, for 5 to 10 years minimum, and that's the way it's gonna go. He's gonna stay in his role of calling the shots, but someone else is gonna own it. That's what's gonna happen. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Vince is taking the company back to being a private company. That's why they said it during the employee meeting, Stephanie. That's how I feel they're going with it. And Dave also speculated that Saudi, they have, like I said, they have whatever the number I said was. I already closed the article, but we're talking in the 100 billions. Dave is saying that they could probably facilitate a sale with only about $7 billion. $7 billion.
$7 billion,
which is a astronomically high amount of money, but not for Saudi Arabia.
The company you mentioned has close to 700 billion.
Yep.
7 billion is only around 10% of their capital.
Yep.
I am sure they would feel that that's a good investment, because when they go to turn around and sell that in 5 years, it's selling for 13, 14, 15 billion, when they sell it to Disney or whoever.
Well, again,
Ugh.
I don't think Saudi Arabia wants to sell it. It's the whole reason why WWE made the deal with Saudi Arabia in the first place. Saudi is trying to sports wash, and I don't want to get political here, but
Oh,
Saudi
yeah.
Arabia as a country, they are, as a kingdom, whatever you want to call it, they are trying to sports wash away their bloody legacy. They are like, there's a reason why I say I hate WWE, because of the blood, the Saudi blood money. A lot of people feel that way. I'm one of them. I don't think you could just put on an entertainment show and just wipe away all the shit you've done. Like, it doesn't work that way. You've killed people. You've
Now,
mistreated women for fucking however long. Again,
now, what if they do actually start giving the women some more leeway, and maybe it does lead to some change in their country? That would be great, but it has yet to be seen. You know what I mean? So
like, again,
let's see what happens there.
You're
But
expecting a lot. I believe that the thing is it's more Saudi Arabia is, hey, look at this shiny thing right here while you're doing some tricks over here. Like like, I don't think it's gonna change. And I don't think them acquiring World Wrestling Entertainment is going to suddenly give them women's rights. I mean, World Wrestling Entertainment can't even book their women's division properly. So, and I don't want to make a light of the mistreatment of women, because it's not funny. But like, no,
no, not
I
at
just
all.
I don't see it changing anything in that country. But again, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Vince McMahon, WWE. So this is like really bad for employees in general. I mean,
The
however
morale
you want to
has
look
to
at it,
be horrible.
the morale's got to be down. So a big report going around was a lot of talent are like, if Vince is back, I want out. And all I could say is this, right? Because again, I have zero sympathy for them, but walk the walk. Do it.
Could you
Fucking do it.
imagine?
Put your money where your mouth is. If these talents are going to say this to, the media and the influencers on Twitter, because that's where it is. I believe Hollywood backup Hangman said a month ago, like, hey, three WWE wrestlers have told me privately off the record, if Vince comes back, we're walking out. And his response to them was, okay, do it then. Just fucking do it. Don't say it, do it. Kook saying he's a political science guy, so this hits him hard.
Yeah.
Oof.
Imagine this. Imagine tonight, we have a live Rampage tonight, right, in Battle of the Belts.
Mhm.
I'm not saying the House of Black are there. I don't know the card or anything, but
They're speaking
they
tonight.
are? Okay. So imagine today House of Black show up to the show. Tony Khan's over there, and he sends out that tweet today. Everyone at work is being so nice to me these past 24 hours. I wonder why. It must be belated holiday spirit. And over comes Malachi Black and just gives Tony a big old hug, says thank you, and walks away. I would love to imagine that happened.
Oh, look. Okay, so here's the thing. My initial thoughts are, number one, Miro's probably like to Lana, shut the fuck up.
Yep.
Stop talking. Like, just stop talking. Like, no more. Malachi and Buddy, like, look, guys, I get it, but like, they gotta be there backstage, like, dodge that bullet. Because here's the thing, Malachi and Buddy did try to leave, and at the end of the day, they decided to do what's right, and I appreciate and respect that. They're being adults about the situation. They're gonna end up winning in the long run, because guess what? They showed up to work. They're doing everything they need to do, and if this shit does go south, which I really do think it's going to, they're good. In 5 years or whenever Malachi's contract's up, he'll be like, you know what? I'm staying. Like, why would I leave? And then just Andrade. Like, if you're Andrade, like, you're probably sitting at home and you're trying to calm yourself down. You're like, tranquilo. And you're just like, no, I fucked my whole career. I picked a fight because Papa H told me to, and now I'm fucked. Like, and that dude is one guy that I have extra negative sympathy. Like, everyone else, 0 sympathy. Andrade, like, -10 sympathy. Like, just go fuck yourself. Like,
Oh, yeah.
don't burn
He's probably fine, because Charlotte and the WWE, and Vince loves Charlotte.
No, Vince. What do you mean? Vince cut Andrade. Like, he literally let him go before.
Yeah, but now that he's basically like getting married to Charlotte, he's kind of got like a little bit of a foot to stand on, I would say.
I don't think so at all.
But Andrade's probably going back to AAA or something like that eventually. I don't think he's going to have a problem finding somewhere to go. But yeah, I agree with you saying, you know.
No, he burned that bridge with AAA too. Remember when he did that interview about Sammy Guevara and stuff? He burned that bridge too. He burned all his bridges. Like, what are you gonna do?
We shall see. These dudes just thinking I can go wherever I want nowadays, man. It's the world has changed. They
tried listening to Papa H. Papa H
told getting crazy out there.
Hey, bud, do this, and it did not work out for them. They're learning the hard way. So, you know, bottom line, my final thoughts on this are pretty much: number one, it's been a glorious day on Twitter.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, I think this is bad. Oh, you're right. This is bad for employees, not just because of morale. Sorry, Jeff. We went on a crazy tangent.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
So people are going to get fired. People are going to get let go here, for multiple reasons. Number one, Vince is back in charge. He's going to cut people just because. Number two, when you're trying to sell a company, you're going to try to make that company appear as profitable as possible.
Absolutely. You liquidate all kinds of assets. Absolutely.
You're going to lay off a lot of guys.
Yep.
And girls. You're going to lay off a lot of workers. A lot of them are going to be talent. And they're going to get cut. And
everybody's
honestly, like, you know,
everybody's walking on eggshells. Everybody's going to be worried about their jobs now. It's going to be...
And then to go even further, let's say you do facilitate a deal, right? And they do sell. So they cut people, they release people, and then they sell the company. Whoever buys them is going to go around. We saw it with Warner Brothers. When these things happen, they're going to cut more people. They're going to get rid of people that they don't like, they don't believe in. Like, this isn't my guy. This is my company now. You're not my guy. You're out.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it goes. So you're going to see that happen. You know, and God forbid Saudi Arabia buys them. Like, could you imagine, like, all right, guys, WWE's going to do one Saudi show a month in Saudi. Like, bro.
And you're required to be there.
You're required to be there. Like, no, man. That's, oof. So, terrible for employees. But, yeah, I mean, final thoughts. It's terrible for everyone involved, but, I mean... Fuck it, let that company burn.
Listen,
as far as I'm concerned.
All you can say is obviously we support the talent. You know, obviously we don't support the WWE, but we would always support the talent. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, some of my favorite wrestlers on the planet. I hope the best.
If Saudi Arabia buys that company, Sammy's gone.
Oh, he's immediately gone.
He's gone. He's doing whatever he can to get out of there.
Yeah, but I hope the best for everybody on that roster. But
yeah, sure.
Obviously, things are a changing.
Meduja's joining us. He asked, "Who do we think is going to buy WWE?" Well, so as we spoke earlier, Jeff predicted Disney. I think NBC is the way to go. However, before we went live, story did break that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is extremely interested in buying WWE. They have over like $500 billion to work with, and Dave Meltzer speculates it only takes $7 billion to buy the company. So the big idea going on, the big theory going on right now is that Vince is going to sell the company. It's going to become a private company, and then Vince is going to head up the company as like the head of. He's going to run the company for whoever buys it.
So I was also thinking there's another choice here, a fourth one, I guess, could be Fox. Fox is definitely big enough to buy it. They could easily just take one of their FS1-245 channels and just make a WWE channel. You know what I mean? Like.
Sure. And TJ is asking a pretty good question. How would this deal benefit Disney? Now, Jeff, I will let you answer. However, I forgot to mention Andrew Zarian from the Mcmahon podcast today. He knows a lot of guys that works at, like, he has sources at like each of the networks and stuff. Yeah. Disney's actually currently trying to get out of the sports game. They're actually looking to sell ESPN. So
really?
Them selling Disney buying WWE does not seem super likely.
Well, the way that I would say that they would benefit from it is they make $1 billion a year. You know, that was their posted last year's posted number, as they profited $1 billion. It was their highest ever. So, you know, I was just going with, because I thought Disney was already involved with them in some ways a little bit.
No, they're
No?
not. They don't have any sort of working agreement at all.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, that's pretty much what I got for us. It'll be interesting. This story is not over. This is not the end of
No.
this story. We're gonna have to keep an eye on what happens. I mean, either Vince is gonna sell the company, or he's lying and he's not gonna sell the company. He's just using it to babyface the investors and the shareholders and the board. We'll see.
I just still can't get over how he pulled this off.
Like, I
Threat-
don't like the guy. I really don't. I fucking hate him. But like, it is so insane how he did it. Like, it's just like, this needs to be a movie someday. Like, the
Dude.
whole, like, not made by the McMahons, not made by anybody pro them, but like an independent filmmaker, not independent, but you know what I mean, like a third party needs to make a movie about this, because like it's just fucking wild. It is just crazy that this guy positioned himself in a way where he could just take over the company. He's like, okay, you don't want to make me in charge of the company? Well, guess what? You guys won't be on TV next year.
Yeah, so for those of you just joining us, the way that Vince McMahon retook control of this company is the way that the contracts work with the television companies for the TV deals. He has to be the one to put pen to paper. Whether he was still the, chairman of the board or not, it was him that had to put the pen to paper. He threatened his own company, the board, I will not re-sign the television deals unless you make me chairman of the board again. And they had no choice. That was literally it's the lifeblood of the WWE. It is their heartbeat, and that's insane to me, the way that he went about doing this and that it worked. I'm blown away.
Yeah, it's fucking wild. It's a coup d'etat. It is a modern day coup d'etat that we watched play out in the present. Like, crazy, fucking crazy.
Like, I don't know if this makes any sense, but it feels like Caesar coming back from the dead and like taking back his spot. Like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean that's a way to look at it.
It's freaking crazy. All right, you got anything else you want to add for this special episode?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything. I mean, again, it's a very complicated situation where there's a lot of different news on a lot of different levels.
TJ says smart man. Oh, that's the mentality we're talking about, bro.
I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, McMahon, like, he has a smart bone in his body. Like, that is, like, he definitely has that ruthlessness that people would look at as like, that is smart. And like, yeah, the way that he foolproofed like this company, like, he went public 20 years ago. He took the company public to make more money, but he set it up in a way where he could easily take the reins back if he needed to. And like, that is, there is a level of like, you gotta give it to him. Like, it's fucking wild, but it is kind of a smart way he played everybody. You know what I mean? Like, it's not good. It's not a positive, but it definitely took a brain to do it. So.
It is one of those things that, like, when I first read it, I was like, damn. But then the more I read it, I was like, that's so messed up. You know what I mean? But when you first read it, you're like, damn, all right.
Yeah, like, I'm not defending it at all, but
no.
It did take a thought process that is somewhat impressive to get it all figured out.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, you want to go ahead and close us out?
Absolutely. Well, thank you to everybody hanging out with us here live. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't. We really appreciate it. This has been a Broken Tables podcast special. We are not doing a live Rampage show tonight. We are doing that tomorrow night due to the fact that it is a 2-hour Rampage live. It's going to be a great show. It starts in about an hour if you're hanging out with us here live. We will be back tomorrow night. Keep an eye on the channel for the listing for the episode so you know exactly when we go live. But we are going to recap Rampage and Battle of the Belts. And if there's any more Vince news, we will be talking about it. Thanks for hanging out with us, TJ. Appreciate it. Thanks to Meduja, the Coog, everyone else that hung out with us tonight. Again, hit that like, subscribe button. You can follow us on our social medias down below, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
Right on. See you guys later. Top guys out.